Hey, this is Jojo Garza of Los Lonely Boys, and you're listening to the new album Resurrection on Verbal Shenanigans.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hey, hello, hi, how goes it? How are you doing, Michael?
Oh, I thought you were talking to the audience. That's why I wasn't answering.
I'm talking like the AI version of us would have said, like last week, like, oh, hi. So I have this story where I ended up in a gas station, Michael.
Hey, what you doing with those flare guns and balloons? You know, that's the Burloo story right there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we did. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Verbal Shenanigans podcast. That's Mike. I'm Scott. We did learn a lot about you last week, Mike. We heard a great story about you. We learned about this kink you had with your mother's underwear. We've learned a lot about you over the last week.
I wouldn't call it a kink and all. Like, I have the...
No. We know. The audience knows.
Okay, I mean, granted, it's nothing as tragic as a janitor molesting me in school, but I mean, I guess it's a different story right there.
Well, I don't know who that happened to. I happened to write a editorial piece on a janitor who worked in my school. You took it upon yourself to shock the audience, to lead them astray down this path of lies, and smear my name. Okay.
Oh, sure, Scott. I mean, do you keep telling that to your shrink? I'm sure one day you'll convince him that you're telling the truth. But I think if we have a few more therapy sessions, he'll come out.
Listen, it's not
much like what the janitor did.
It's not my fault that in your free time you enjoy going in your parents' backyard, twirling around your mom's underwear while spasming as your pants are falling down. That's not my fault.
Now, those are two separate things. You know, the spasming came in during the poop picking up.
Oh, so you like to do it around poop? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was when the pants had to be unbuckled. Now, the mom bra pickup, that was all with their dog bringing out her undergarments outside and all. In fact,
I don't know.
Right
you sent me
the undergarment dog in question in my household.
You sent me the picture of the undergarment dog. It didn't look like a dog that would do such a thing like that. I think this was an attempt at, if we have your dad on the podcast down the line, an attempt at a cover-up story of what actually happened in that backyard on that Saturday.
No, very early on, the parents even said, like before they even went out, they talked about, Brandy just likes to grab your mother's bras and stuff, and
that's where you saw. That's where you saw your opportunity. That's where you saw your opportunity. Like, we could blame it on the dog. They'll never know.
I gotcha. Okay.
Like in the past, growing up, you probably blamed it on your brother or another dog you guys had, or sister or something. This has all been
we've had 7 dogs and all of them take the bras outside. What's wrong with these animals? I train them so well.
It's a Labrador retriever. Get it? Well, we are back here. We are coming off a fun episode with Miss Sandy Johnson, the first victim of Michael Myers. And today is no different. We have a pretty cool guest. I just came back from I guess we can tie this into guest oriented here, because a couple weeks ago, I think it was like 498 or something like that. We had Alex Kopash on, who was a Canadian bobsledder, gold medalist. And I had met him through a mutual friend of my wife. It's her husband. He was an Olympic bobsledder for the Canada team, and in Pyeongchang we became friends. And we get to see them every once in a while. They live in Ontario, Canada. But A while ago, he talked about how the World Bobsled, I think it's the World Bobsled Championship, was in Lake Placid this year.
Ooh.
And we said, that sounds fun to check out. I've never seen bobsled in person. Not sure if you've ever seen bobsled in person. It's not really a thing that's, generally around the corner.
I've never met Mr. Sled. No. Oh, Bobby Sleds. I haven't met him yet.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. And who are you yelling at?
The dog. He's undergarment.
Yeah. The two undergarment boys have joined the podcast.
One, that's a girl right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you see, most people listen to this just on audio, so I get to see you as I'm trying to tell a story, just like yelling at this dog, and now the dog has entered the picture and is right up in your grill. So,
well, I was not yelling at her. I was yelling at Vader, who's getting a little frisky with her, if you know what I mean. No, he doesn't have the parts to do anything with it, but
yeah. So now you run a dog sex ring in your basement here.
Well, I mean that's. I'd rather be known for that versus the whole grabbing my mom's undergarments scenario. So
you already are. You're known as a man pup since like episode 100 something.
Again, like my love for dogs has nothing to do with dressing up as dogs, nor blaming dogs on bringing undergarments into the backyard for neighbors to see.
Mm-hmm. Likely story. Anyway, so we said, that'd be a great excuse to get together. It wasn't a crazy drive, it was about 4 hours and 20 minutes from the house, something like that. But I guess we didn't really quite factor in bringing, one 4-year-old and one 9-month-old to Lake Placid in the middle of March or the beginning of March. Now we get there, trip was okay. The actual driving was okay. And the next day is the bobsled thing. So, you got to haul the kids and bring them. And we get there and the track is covered. It almost looks like a water slide.
Okay.
Because he explained to us that on certain conditions, now it was 17 degrees out. Okay. And you're at the, the kind of the top of a mountain in the middle of Lake Placid. And he explained that when the conditions are snowy or windy, they close the shade. So it almost becomes like a tunnel. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you couldn't see if you looked up at the mountain, you couldn't see them whipping around in there. You had to kind of be inside of the shaded area. And this is, I want to say too, this is the new me. I'm really into now just doing things that maybe I would have never done before. So there would probably be no excuse in the world to go see the World Bobsled Championship. Now it's well, you got to go to the World Bobsled Championship.
College Scotty, not going to bobsledding events. And come on, man, the whole gang's going to go. No, that's fine. Oh, Scotty don't need to know no bobsledding or anything.
Well, it's you never know. We talked about darts. Who knows? 10 years from now, bobsled could be the new thing that looks like people go crazy for and make into a fun time. And at this point, I've seen 800 baseball games, hockey games, football games, a couple basketball games. I got to try some new things, man. Who knows when death is coming for me? I'd like to go to the heavenly gates and be like, Father, thank you for allowing me to see bobsledding or darts or NASCAR. I've never been to NASCAR. I'll go to NASCAR next, maybe.
So you're going to the pearly gates and they're taking you to the afterlife and you're like, oh, crap, I've never been to a WNBA game. You got to send me back.
and then I'd feel like Jesus would be like, you don't really need to experience that either. It's okay, buddy.
Well, I'll pass it along to you. As you know, number one draft pick. I'll send word back to you what his thoughts are.
That's my buddy just posted. I guess he took his daughter to the female hockey league that's out there, and he posted a picture, and it's there are 2 people in the seats. I'm like, oh man.
Not a good start to Women's International Month.
Yeah. You beat me to a point I wanted to talk to today. So we'll circle back to the bobsledding thing.
Okay.
The guest we have coming on, we'll introduce him formally in just a few minutes, but their big song was Heaven, right? Like the smash single, won a Grammy, all that.
Mhm.
And we'll get to JoJo in just a few minutes. But I wanted to talk. You claim you're the number one draft pick of Heaven.
Yeah, like some stuff's got to get negotiated. As you know, I gave it to my dog Callie when she passed away.
That is true.
She
You
didn't
did
go
pass the
right
baton.
up.
Yeah.
But this is the off season for Heaven, so trades are being made, interactions are being done right now.
Why does Heaven have the same off season as the NFL?
Well,
like exactly.
Well, when do most football games play?
On Sundays.
Yep, the Lord's Day.
Gotcha.
So there you go. I got this all set up and all. I'll tell you straight up, God, not a fan of the Thursday night games. Just like me, it's just like it's pointless.
That's the heathens game. That's for sinners.
Yeah, you got to make sure you got the Amazon account ready, and if their streaming is off, it's just a nightmare, and it's usually a bad game regardless. So
they've stepped it up. I feel like the last 2 years they really corrected the bad game thing.
They step it up, but it's still not God's good side.
It's sinners' day.
I'm giving you inside information. Just take
it's the
it for what
sinners'
it's
day.
worth.
Okay, so you're the first draft pick in Heaven.
Mhm.
Okay, now since you traded away that right, it does. Like Callie have to sign off up there. Like, yeah, bring him in. You have rights to get into the next wave, or do you become maybe like the second or third pick because you kind of waived your first pick?
Well, we were going through like free agency and stuff like that, so God's got to figure out the whole cap thing, and
there's a salary cap. Yeah,
of course. You really think all the billionaires are going up to Heaven? Nah, man.
So there's a salary cap based on what you make on Earth?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's why good poor people, there's playing them in Heaven just because it's like, yeah, we got the cap space. Come on up.
Good poor people. Yes. Yeah. Okay. You're all right. Your logic is flowing right now, so I feel like I got to continue this.
Go ahead.
So I was thinking about the term Heaven before, and how like people have very different interpretations of that. Like personally, me, I'm not exactly sure if there is a heaven and hell. I think maybe there is an energy that escapes your body, something like. I'd like to claim it more like spiritual, if you will, than you go to a place in the clouds and look down upon things and see everything that's happening. But I figured I'd want other religions think it's like your soul goes somewhere. Other religions think like only hell exists. So some people think all people have a chance to go to heaven. Clear it up for us. What is it? What is it?
Well, first for most people there's a very large waiting room and all, and you go in and you have to meet the receptionist. We'll get some information down about, you got to relay some stuff. You're like, oh, hey, just to send in a good word that, I did this. I gave to these charities. I helped out this church and whatever. Just small notes put down on a piece of paper. The nurses of Heaven put this all in. And
now, are you aware that you're dead? I want to know that. Like, do you know, okay, I'm dead. I'm into the next ethos here.
Well, yeah, they have like a host that before you go into the waiting room, is just sitting there and just like, hey, how's it going? I just want to inform you, yeah, you're not living anymore. This is not a dream. I know you're thinking about turning around. That's not going to go anywhere. Just sit tight. We're going to get you in the waiting room. Grant, we got some paperwork to do and all, but this process runs pretty quickly. The draft goes every day. They have a draft, and
every day.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's why
so far Heaven kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you're sitting in a giant waiting room and you have to go meet with one receptionist.
Well, you got to remember something.
I'm just asking. I don't know. No.
Number one, the Wi-Fi is amazing.
Really?
Number two, if you look up the television, it's whatever you want it to be. So if you were wanting to see like one person be like, oh my God, there's a monster truck rally up there. Maybe somebody's like, oh, that's my favorite episode, The Golden Girls. It's one very large television we're all looking at, but little does everybody know, they just can to see what they see. So nobody's complaining about sitting in the waiting room of heaven.
Okay. So if you were to enter the waiting room, what would be on your television that you're watching?
Oh man, I mean, non-stop Dukes of Hazzard.
I figured.
Non-stop. In fact, it will be a live production because I figure probably Tom Wopat and John Schneider are up there in age, so they'll be early draft picks today. Saying
so far, Heaven is sounding a little bit like a shitty waiting room in an old doctor's office. There's Dukes of Hazzard reruns going on, and you're just waiting for the reception. And then they just keep pushing you down the line. They're like, "Oh, tomorrow might be your draft day."
No. Everybody, when everybody in that day will have their draft done, and all. That's where everything is decided that day. Now, you're not going to, like I said, you're going to be in the waiting room and get to either watch the Heaven TV, which is anything. They got the Wi-Fi if you're like a phone person. If you wanted to know about loved ones, you pick up your phone and magically it'll tune you into like that uncle that passed away when you were younger, stuff like that. But believe me, you're not. We don't want this to be a bad situation when you're waiting for.
Now, does everybody in the waiting room get into Heaven, or they just get by? Okay.
The draft occurs and all. Like I'm talking about, there's various places. There's Heaven, there's Limbo, there's Hell, there's going back reincarnation. Anything is possible. I mean, they have agents there like talking to people and all, like looking over your paperwork while you're waiting, just to kind of get an idea, because they want to build their draft board every day.
Gotcha. So like at any point, like they could step up, like Hell can step up and they could be like, with the 8th pick overall, Hell will take Michael Burlew in the first round, and bam.
Well, I'm not going to be sitting around in the 8th round, buddy. Okay. Let's just start off with that. That's very offensive to me. I got to be honest.
Okay, so let me ask you. You have the number 1 pick. You've said this for many, like you're going right to Heaven. Yeah. We've debated how on earth you think that you are getting it to Heaven so automatically. I don't know if the God sees the little bra thing that you've been into, but anyway, so you get into the waiting room. Do you have like special privileges, like because they already know you're going to be taken first? It's like when a team declares they're taking a quarterback way before.
Yeah, it's like the whole Peyton Manning thing where it's like it's just a formality. Like we're all going to be sitting there and there'll be discussions, like maybe reincarnation would be like, if you let us, if you work your way to us, you can go back and then eventually you can go to Heaven, like when I'm a free agent and stuff like that. But, like I said, the big guys are going to come down and be like, yeah, the owner really likes you. This is pretty much a done deal. We'll talk schematics when we get you up there.
Is there a moment where they put the hat on you, like or wings or something, and you take the
the halo?
Yeah. Oh,
like a big circle and all. You get specially fitted and all that.
You with Heaven's version of Roger Goodell giving you a shake with the number 1 on it.
Yeah, I got a cool like little handshake I do with Heaven Goodell, and I put up a rope with Burlew on the back, number 1, and I call up my mom because I'm assuming this is well in the future
and tell her the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, about what you do.
No. You listen. I mean, I have perfectly detailed story, and your thoughts on the story may differ, but I have already informed you what occurred on said day with the spasms and loosening the belt and the gentle pumpkin spice cakes and all that fun stuff.
Yes. Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, you need the source info. Just go back 1 week and check out Mike's story. But anyway, I guess I don't know how we swerve back into bobsledding here. But anyway,
okay.
So now that we have a clear interpretation of what Heaven is, I just needed to get that off my chest and find out. The curiosity was killing me. So he says our friend Joey, who's the bobsledder, and he had an athlete or two that he trains that were in the weekend. There's different events. There's skeleton, there's monobob, which is just one person in the bobsled, 2-man bobsled, and then next weekend was 4-man. So he's like, yeah, we got to go up to the top. That's where the fun action is. Okay. So now bobsled, I guess I was kind of shocked. It's a pretty like raw sport. Like it's not very as sophisticated as you think as far as the production of it. For instance, there's no like conveyor belt bringing the sleds up or anything. They basically take those sleds, they throw them in the back of a truck, and the truck just hauls them back up to the top of the track. Okay.
So it's basically like when you go on a tubing expedition.
Well,
That's all they're doing. And it's just like, Gary, you got the pickup. We got to do another run.
Exactly. And I'll get to that in a second. So you could walk all the way up the hill, but you're talking like walking up kind of a ski slope. Like you're basically going up. So you can wait for these trucks to just pick you up. Okay. Now we had this stroller, big ass stroller with a baby in it. My son, who, he's not fast and he's still a little kid. And then the four of us. So we had to like wave down a truck and we're like, can you get us? He's like, can you get us up to the top? And the guy's like, yeah, I think so. And
now, did you get to sit in the back in the bobsled while they bring you up the mountain?
Now this was a passenger transport car, but he did say like I could try to get you to the top, but we have to make sure no trucks are coming with the sled. So it was almost like a timing thing. Like, okay, I can get you closer. I can get you closer. Okay, and he got us to the top. Now at the top, just like you said, going up to the top, there's a thin wooden stairwell. Okay, just like when you go to a water park. And you have to hold that damn tube at the top of the water slide in line as you're starting to get cold, and like that part always freaked me out when it's like real high and you just see the water dripping all the way down. You're kind of like, I don't know, really, this seems a little sketchy. Like, and you're holding that big dumb tube, especially if it was one of those double tube rides with the big ones.
Yeah.
It feels exactly
and
like
your
that.
friend yells at you, don't be a wussy here at Action Park. Gotcha.
Yes. So we have the stroller. Okay, now we have a big stroller too, and the walkway is only
you bobsled in the stroller.
We thought about it. Now the walkway is only like maybe 2 people wide, so he's like, "Come on!" So we have to go up the stairs, and he has to pick up one in the stroller every set, and every 2 seconds, I'm like, "Excuse me, sorry, excuse me," like bumping into people. Really tough to get the stroller up. We get up there, and this is where it's pretty cool. You're like, oh, wow. Like we're at the start, like where you see all the action on the TV, like the guys are right in front of you. I'm leaning against a rail and the guys are right in front of you. First observation, bobsledders are massive people. We saw them in like the warm-up room where they're like, getting ready. They are all 6 foot plus, 6'5", 6'6". The German guy, I swear to God, he was 6'7", and he was like LT. Just huge quad, like Saquon Barkley, like quads,
You're
in their
janitor flashbacks.
Yeah. Gotcha. to his big quads. Yes. As he would use the mop so gently. So these guys are all freak. Apparently one guy was like 6'6", 250 and ran a 4.40, like insane, like stuff. And it's cool. Like they get ready, they do their little like slap on the helmet and like get ready, and I still don't exactly know how they start because I didn't hear like a dude, like a horn or anything, or it just seems like they start and the timer started, but maybe I was missing something. So
is that how the Jamaicans made the Olympics? And they just took off and like, oh, we forgot to start. Damn, you're fast.
Now I have my son, so he's kind of like leaning in front of me, and before that he heard Chappell Roan's Pink Pony Club in the car. I don't know if you're familiar with the song. It's a big hit right now. But he's just singing Pink Pony Club. But he starts changing the words and he's singing Big Booty Club. He's going Big Booty Club. I'm like, all right.
Boy,
then at one point he's singing Big Garden Glove. And my son is singing that on the car ride to the bobsled event, in the car with the mysterious man that took us up the hill. And now as we are watching athletes primed to do the thing they've been training for their whole life, and it's kind of quiet, before it's almost like a golf hole. Like you're kind of quiet, waiting for them to take off. And all you hear is Big Booty Club, my son. Then he almost drops his gloves onto the track as guys are running 100 miles onto the, and so, but as soon as they take off, then it's pretty cool. Everyone's got like cowbells, and it's like a all the way until like they have to hop into the sled. So very cool to see. A lot of nations represented. I think I saw Monaco, Latvia, Germany, Brazil, USA, Canada, and the Germans just dominate the sport. They were 1, 2, and 3, and we are on the second heat, which they go backwards. And then the Germans went and just wiped the floor with everybody. So my daughter starts to wake up. At first, she was sleeping. She starts to wake up, starts crying. There's nowhere to really hold them. As I explained, there's a very tight quarter. Then my son, who is an absolute wuss in the cold, man. He puts his hand in the snow and he's like, I'm cold. Like, it's like, dude, you can shake your hand or move it or kind of wipe it off. He starts getting cold and the tears start flowing. And then he says, I have to pee. Now, Mike, up on this little walkway thingy, there's no bathroom. There's not a bathroom in sight. So,
like, none of the bobsledders get like a quick piss out before they do the run.
Now, I asked my friend Joey, I'm like, is there a bathroom up here? And he's like, the only one is in the little bobsled training room, but it's across the track. Like you would have to walk across the ice track.
Now, son, the Germans will be coming very fast, so we got to get in there really quick.
And he's like, you probably wouldn't be let in there. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to make something happen. So now I have to go back down said water slide thingy. And it's 17 degrees and windy and blustery. And I'm like, all right, buddy. And I find a little snow mound. And I'm like, you're going to have to pee here. And he's like, here? And I'm like, yeah. And like, so I pull his pants down. And he's like, oh my God, it's cold. And I'm like, come on, you got to pee. And he's like, I thought you said you had to pee. And he's like, I do. It's coming. And then I'm like, I get that. If you ever pee in the cold, sometimes it like, freezes up. Yeah.
I mean, your father's yelling at you with your pants down and saying, will you piss right now? I don't think I could go.
Meanwhile, just picture blustery, like snowflakes hitting you and just like bobsled noise because it's loud as hell. It's like, so then me and my wife decided we got to go. Like there's a lodge, kind of like a ski lodge where there's like beer and food. We're like, we'll go inside and watch some of it on the TVs. But now we have to get down the track. And with the stroller again, my son starting to scream. Quiet. Then we had to wait to hitch a ride with another mysterious truck that comes down the way.
So basically, anybody with a truck, you're just jamming your whole family in there saying, this is safe. This is cool.
I'm pretty sure they all worked for the thing because they were all really friendly and they were like, welcome.
Yeah. A friendly person in the mountains with a strange vehicle. Yes, come in my vehicle. I'm sure we'll get to your destination.
You make a good point. And we didn't even have like the baby strapped in. We just had her in like the car seat in our hands.
Yeah. He's like, you don't need to strap the baby in. Just hand it to me. Everything will be fine. Yeah. I'll hold the baby with one hand.
So we had to wait a good 20 minutes by the time we got a ride. Sun's melting down. And I've always had this thought about like dads in ski lodges when I saw them like trying to undress their kids and they're uncomfortable in their boots and they're crying because now it's warm inside, and there's that, you come from that shocking cold and they're bundled up like the kid in Christmas Story. Shout out Ian Petrella, former guest on the show. And he's crying. And sure enough, we do, eat, have a beer, watch some of the bumps. But I really didn't I got the experience, very cool, but I would have liked, you could go watch it from different vantage points. Like you go to the finish line, you can go at some of the turns, but that was really the beginning and end of my bobsled watching experience. It would be cool to go back. I would recommend it. Apparently there is a chance because Italy's track is so terrible for the Olympics that the push events and slide events might all be in Lake Placid for the Italy Olympics.
Stupid Italians. What the hell is wrong with you? All you can do is make pasta. You can't bobsled. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, make pasta and watch John Carpenter's Halloween over and over again. That's all they do.
Yeah, and do it in youth size sweatshirts as well.
Yeah.
But we have to get to that.
Let's get to that after our guest. But overall, a good trip. We went to we could have went back to watch races and stuff like that, but we said like with the kids is enough. But we did go to like a brewery for lunch, met up with our friends later, and it was a quick but good trip. I would recommend if you are in an area to check out a sport like that, because it's so uniquely different than the stuff we're used to just watching. And that, it's not baseball. It's a very punk rock kind of sport. Like, it's very grassroots. Like, real quick, the one girl the guy trains, she's Canadian, and she wasn't making the Canadian team. She went to Team Spain because her dad was born in Spain. She is one of one, and traveled through Europe in a van that kept breaking down with the sled in the back of the van from event to event to event. No coach, no nothing, just figured it out. It's just like the grind these people have is pretty amazing. So
now, is the sled like on a hook, like a tow truck, and it's just the skates are scraping the floor as you're driving along with them?
No, they're like lifted and placed in like a cargo truck. But very cool. So, and if you want to hear more about the sport, honestly, if you go back to that episode, I think it was 498. Alec, we did a pretty in-depth interview on Alex with the sport too, so he does explain a lot of it. So,
or go back to Devin Harris, the Jamaican bobsledder that we had.
That's true. We are pretty bobsled centric here on the show. We've had as many bobsledders as we've had slap fighters. No, more bobsledders than we've had.
More bobsledders, yeah. But let's keep it that way. I digress.
Well, let's get to our guest. This is a cool one. Okay. I mentioned it earlier in the show, and you also clicked on the link that says his name. So we're going to bring Jojo Garza on the show. He is one of three brothers. You may know them as Los Lonely Boys. As we said, their hit Heaven years ago, smash hit. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing the song. Grammy Award winners. They're back in action. They're back touring. They're back writing music. So we have the pleasure of getting Jojo on the show. So let's get Jojo on the line right now.
Hello?
Hey, Jojo, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Jojo.
Can y'all hear me?
I hear you. I hear you
Hey,
loud
what's
and
going on, y'all?
I hear you loud and clear, man. You sound good. Sound good. Look good.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. Same to y'all.
Punching bag behind you. I like it, man.
It's
Joe,
all the looks, man.
that's Mike. I'm Scott. Thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time, man. I appreciate it.
Bro, thank you guys, man. I always like to tell anybody that we do an interview with is, man, we're just thankful that somebody interested in doing everything y'all can to help us get the word out too, man. So thank you, brother.
So I guess I'm going to start here. I played bass in a bunch of bands growing up in high school and whatnot, and I didn't choose the bass. The bass kind of chose me. One guy had a guitar, the other guy had a drum set, and I found a bass for like $120 and bought it, and I became the bass player. Eventually fell in love with playing bass. How among brothers is it decided who gets what instrument? I'm curious.
You know what, brother? Honestly, it was kind of the same way for me. We all started playing guitar first. That was our dad's primary instrument. He played bajo sexto, which is a traditional Mexican guitar, and a little bit of accordion. But he taught us acoustic guitar was the first thing we did, and over the years he had acquired bits of equipment here and there, and the way I say it is, they had these scratched off spots on all the instruments where, like, I think there was some kind of number there or something that used to be there. I'm not really sure, but anyways, we wound up with guitars, and he had a little piano there, or like a keyboard, and then he acquired a set of drums. And when we got those drums, Ringo had been living with our mom because our parents had separated, and Ringo was living with our mom. And at that time, Henry and I were teaching each other how to play drums. And so what had happened was Ringo came. Basically, the parents did a swap with the children, and it was Ringo and I that got swapped. Ringo came home with Henry and my dad, and I went to stay with my mom in Amarillo, Texas. And during that time, Henry taught Ringo what we had been teaching each other on the drums. And what we were learning was, that was like the basic thing we learned was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, on kick, hat, and snare kind of thing. Yep. And when I came back a month or a couple months later or something, my dad had acquired even a PA system. We came back on a Greyhound bus, me and my mom and my sister, and that night they were like, we're going to play at this place called Rodeo Reds in Grape Creek, Texas, little bitty kind of like hole in the wall place. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't really ask anything, but they were like, yeah, watch what we do, and Ringo was really small, man. They actually put him in the PA case,
No.
like for the board. This is no lie. He was in this case for where the board went. And my dad did this introduction, the littlest drummer in the world. And I remember Ringo popped it open and he started doing the Running Man and stuff, like little dance to the back of the drums. Anyways, we went home that night and my dad was like, look, Ringo's playing the drums now. Henry plays the lead guitar. I'm playing this. We need a bass player. And he had an old, I think it's called an old SG or something like that. And he just took 2 strings off. Tuned it an octave down, threw me on his Fender Bassman, took all the treble off, all the bass up, and said, "You're our bass player."
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's exactly how it happened for me, man. And then after that, I started recognizing the bass more throughout the tunes and stuff, man. I was lucky enough that when I was probably now. At this time, I was probably around 12 or something, and we had moved from San Angelo to Nashville, and we lived in Nashville about 10 years off and on. We came back to Lubbock, and we had this, you remember the Beta cassettes?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, we had this old Beta cassette, and it was like a learn kind of thing, like teaching you some things, right? And it had all these small clips of players. That was the first time I had seen Louis Johnson on one of these like little learn how to play kind of things, and it was just like a 30-second clip, man. And when I saw him doing his, I went, I was like, I can do that on this instrument.
I'm telling you, you fall in love with it. Like it finds you, and then you find like exactly. I remember seeing Victor Wooten in like Flea playing, and I'm like, oh, this is what we can do. And then 15, 20 years later, we had Victor Wooten on the show twice. So it's been,
that's great, man. I actually saw Victor Wooten when we lived in Nashville. We lived in a place called Madison. It was Goodlettsville. And he was playing, him and his brother, the Wooten brothers.
The Wooten brothers, yep.
They were playing outside of it was like an O'Charlie's or a Cheddar's or something.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I had just gotten off work. I worked at O'Charlie's and I had just gotten off work. And there was this band playing and I just stood there and I seen Victor Wooten.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, man. And of course, they were the Wooten brothers, but they weren't like, at this time, I was just like, who is this? Who is this?
Yeah,
and then later on in the years, I was like, that was the guy.
Great
Small
dude.
world.
Too. Great dude.
Yeah.
I haven't had the honor of meeting him yet, man, but I'm pretty sure our paths are going to cross at some point, man.
They will.
He's an awesome guy, man. Now, I'm sure every interview you ever done, somebody's always like, well, how's it like performing with your brothers and all that? And I know you've done it all your life. I'm kind of curious with your family, was there ever like a cousin or something or whatever as you guys are getting in the band and like, yo, you got to see my clarinet set, man. I swear I can fit right in with you guys. And no, I could have been right in there with heaven.
Oh, there's got to be some jealous family members, man. Nope.
Honestly, no one was really, in all of our cousins or anything was playing.
Really?
We kind of thought it was normal because our dad and his brothers played, and all his brothers had kids and stuff too. But they just weren't really taken to the music yet. It took them, probably within the last 10, 15 years. And they really, then we started getting some cousins playing and stuff. But there was one cousin of ours that, because we grew up learning about traditional Mexican music as well, like polkas, and they're called polkas, rancheras, cumbias, and things like that. And one of our cousins was one heck of an accordion player. And this is when we were, quite a bit younger. And so we definitely all jammed together doing that kind of music. But when Los Lonely Boys did their thing, we became as what people have learned as Los Lonely Boys. No, not really, man. There was not really anybody. But we did happen to feature that same cousin on a couple of albums. He's actually on Painted Memories on the new album Resurrection. So his name is Jeremiah.
Weird Al Yankovic. Got
it. Jeremiah.
So, we've interviewed so many musicians over the years, and I love like we get bios from their labels and little media notes and whatnot, and it's always like, well, they formed here, they got picked up here, and then they went with this smash hit, But I want to know about like the grind early on, as far as like, did you guys ever know you were going to take this to another level? Were you a bar band? Were you just trying to get any kind of gig at some point? What was like the origin story of Los Lonely Boys as far as early on?
Actually, it's exactly everything you said. I mean, it's all of that.
Yeah.
Growing up in a musical family, it was just everyday music. We heard singing. Mom and dad were singing together. We were working on songs for a talent show, and so we were always around music, eating food, drinking water, and playing music. Of course, we slept in there. Sometimes went to the bathroom and whatnot. But
gotcha. Yeah.
But man, it was basically something, because our dad had introduced us to the Beatles and Elvis, and he had shown us, Richie Valens was a household name growing up where we grew up and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so when La Bamba came out in 1987, that really sparked some like real idea of like, oh, wow. I remember seeing the Beatles and all the girls were chasing the Beatles, and I remember seeing Elvis and all the girls were crying over Elvis, and then we saw Richie Valens, and there was all these lights and stuff on the American Bandstand and stuff, and I remember at that point, like personally, that inside myself, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be on a stage with them colored lights and with people out there just dancing. And this was, like I said, around 87. I was 8 years old, but it was all grind, man. For a while there, when we moved to Nashville, we were literally our dad's backing band. Wow. And we played anywhere and everywhere. Every hole in the wall, every dive. We got lucky a couple times. We played on Music Row, and somehow, I don't know how our dad did it, but he got us on the Grand Ole Opry stage for like some kind of I don't remember exactly what it was, but we were able to play there one time when we were quite young. So it was basically all you said, brother. The grind was real, and it still is like that. I mean, we're a little older now too, and so the grind changes a little bit differently, because you gotta, your body's changing, life's changing, got kids, wives, grandkids, all this stuff. But man, we played everywhere and anywhere we could, and that's what our practice was. We never really, occasionally we would set up at home and just play, but we never really had like rehearsals or nothing like that, man. It was all, it's time to go play because we got to pay the bills.
What out of curiosity, as you like played with your dad, what's easier, having an argument with him over like how to play a song, or like something like you got a D in your science test or something like that? What's easier to combat with father about?
Well, he didn't actually get that far in school, man. So to be really honest with you, they only sent us to school because the law said we had to go to school.
Oh, gotcha.
And so when it came to the music, man, he went through his hardships in his life. And one of the things that he always told us was, I don't want you guys going to prison, and I don't want you guys digging ditches. And so music kept us out of where we came from, man. We were destined for prison, for sure, man, because that's just where we came from. It was like, it's part of the lifestyle. But music kept us away from that, man. It really did. I have dug a few ditches, I learned to do some carpentry and things like that, because our dad was, jack of all trades, master of none. And so we learned those same types of things, but it was more about the music, man. And so when we weren't doing something right with the music, he definitely let us know.
So take us to, how you guys kind of get picked up, and we get to the song Heaven, and it's just you can't go anywhere without hearing it. It's just everywhere. We're like, when you were signed to record an album, was that song like, did you know that song was going to be featured in the album? Was it the one that you were pushing? Because I listened to some of your music as we're preparing for the interview, and I hear Santana vibes and certain things. I hear, and then Heaven is its own, its own piece. It's kind of a song for anyone. I'm just curious, like, was that purposely like the song we were going to go with, or did that develop in the studio? How did that work for you guys?
Well, it's actually a prayer that Henry wrote. He prayed it, and then he told us he was instructed to write it down. And so it became a song, He showed us what he had, the little idea and whatnot, and then we all came together and made it the song that everybody knows. But, man, to be really honest with you, no one, and I'm not talking about us three in the band, but there was no one that was really that thrilled about the song or the word heaven. It actually, quite honestly, it turned a lot of people off, man. And they were like, what's this heaven stuff? What's this? Are you guys, what do you want to be gospel and all this stuff? And it's like, no, it's not even about that. It's not a gospel thing. It's just, about believing a certain type of belief we were raised with and whatnot. So anyhow, when it came to getting into the studio and all that stuff started happening, there was one guy out of all the years that it had happened. We had been playing Heaven and playing of course, all our other songs from that first album.
Yep.
But there was one guy at Sony Epic, and his name was Steve Barnett, and he was the big dog. And we were playing somewhere in New York City one night. I think it was a Bowery Ballroom or something like that. And I remember him being there, and this dude was like dressed to the nines and slick, like smelled like cologne, like from like a mile away, and gold and stuff. And so we were just kind of like, who is this guy? And honestly, man, he basically said that everything we were doing was something special. He said that he particularly liked the song Heaven as well. And what he had told us was, he said, do you guys want to sell 1 million records? And we were just kind of like, nah, who wants to sell 1 million records, bro? Come on. Like, what kind of question is that,
No.
And really not taking even taking him serious, knowing who he was. And, we had been around a lot of record execs that were just like, nah, we pass. But we were like, sure, man, who wouldn't want to sell 1 million records? And he was like, all right, we're going to do it. And we were like, okay.
Yeah.
And so we just did our thing, man. And another one of the sides to Heaven is when we were in the studio, actually 9/11 had happened when we were cutting tunes, right? Well, on that day, we went in a little bit later than most days because, everything had happened and the cats around us we were working with were all into what was going on. And Heaven was the only song that we recorded on that day. And so, man, I mean, you could call it fate or just grand design or whatever you want to call it. I just know that, that these things are true. And once again, man, for us, whenever any of the songs were done, man, we feel close to any of our tunes, bro. They're like our kids, man. And so we got love for all of them. But something special happened to Heaven that just, I mean, that's the song that everybody has known over the last 20 years, man.
Sure.
And it, when he shot the video for it, I mean, everything just gelled together and it was like, this is the tune.
So you get the big hits, you're selling records, you're winning Grammys, you're asked to perform with Carlos Santana. You seem like a very laid-back person. Are you able to keep this just like, this is my life, this is what I want to do, this is just another day? Or are there points where you're almost like fanboying, like, oh my gosh, this is so fun, yay!
Dude, I'm calling BS if he doesn't said he didn't fanboy over playing with Santana. I mean, that's like if he says, nah, it was all right.
He's already calling BS.
What's up, Carlos?
Yeah.
No.
I ain't even calling you your last name. How about that?
Well, I had a fanboy moment whenever I met the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
that's a different
That
type of
for me
fanboy.
was like, I had jaw dropped and stuff like that. Honestly, brother, man, meeting Santana, Willie Nelson, and
Yep.
cats like Ronnie Millsap or Paul McCartney. I mean, I never really had that kind of moment because I've always felt like, look, we're all people,
Sure.
we're all the same. But in saying that, my eyes couldn't really believe what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't ever like, oh my gosh, or whatever.
Sure.
But in the moments, it's a completely surreal thing, man. It's like this is really happening. And all our lives, I was saying earlier to you, the grind and everything, the imagining ourselves on stage, there was a swimming pool right down the street where we used to live from, and there was a place called the River Stage. We used to go to that stage and airplay guitar, bass, drums, and we were like, "Hey, San Angelo, we love you." And we were little guys, and so when things like that started happening, meeting Willie, meeting Santana, playing on CMT Crossroads with Ronnie Millsap, those things they're mile markers, and they're things, man, that are like, even to this day, bro. I mean, Henry can call Carlos anytime he wants to. Ringo's got Willie Nelson's number, and he's got Stone Cold Steve Austin's number, and you know what I'm saying. And they call these guys on the regular. That we became good friends and whatnot. And so it's still though, brother, man. I mean, I think anybody can sort of understand if you had a moment, even just a second, by one of your heroes next to him, you feel like this is.
Yeah.
I've gone full circle. And so we've definitely felt it was a blessing, bro. And felt like I said, even to this day, it's still an amazing thing to be. I mean, even with Los Lobos, bro, we tour with those guys quite often and we share the stage together. And these guys are real legends, man.
Amazing.
And they treat us with such love and respect and acceptance. And they're like, you guys are of course it was 20 years ago and they kind of say it now, but they're like, you guys are the next thing for La Raza, for our people, for the rock and rollers who do what we do. And so just honored, bro. What a true honor it is to know these cats.
So when the Grammy comes and the hit album comes and the song comes, what's Dad's reaction, man? Like, I mean, that's probably even more important than the awards and the accolades. Like your dad, raised you doing it. Like, what was that like for you guys? 3 brothers hitting it big because their dad got them into music. Whose dad was into music all their life? That's got to be an amazing thing.
Bro, that was an amazing moment. And I'm just going to, just like point on that topic a little bit. I've over the years, I've sat and thought, and it's even just as of recent, just go like I'm watching La Bamba or something like that. And I look and I go like, man, I think about our mom. I think about our sisters and our cousins and uncles and aunts and, even friends that are close friends and whatnot. And I think about what they felt like that night.
Yeah.
And because we're there with all the big stars, man. And we said hi to Jay-Z and Beyonce and Faith Hill and Tim McGraw and, Alicia Keys was right there sitting next to us with J-Lo and all. And so for us, we're like, man, this is freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
But our dad was there with us at the Grammys, man. And there is a picture of that night when they said the name, and I'll get into this in a second, but when they said our name, brother, he was the first person standing up. And when you see this picture, like you can Google it or look it up, he's standing up with arms stretched out wide.
It's awesome.
Man, he's gone now. And he just went, like 29 Sundays ago or something like that, man. And so when I'm talking about this, it hits pretty hard, man, because, brother, you can see him with all of his just.
That's got to be the best, man.
I knew it. I knew you were going to do it, mijos. But everyone else is still sitting down. Everyone else.
This is awesome.
He's the first one standing, brother. And it's actually like in the movies too, man. We're sitting there and they're saying all these band names. And the nominees are so-and-so, Maroon 5, Los Lonely Boys, Hoobastank. I think there was another one or two. And I'm not kidding. We didn't hear him say our name, dude. because we're like, nah, there's no way, man.
Yeah.
There's
It'd
no
be funny
freaking
if your
way.
dad was like, "Oh, I thought they said Hoobastank. Sorry, let me sit down."
It'd be funny if their dad was a big Hoobastank fan and was actually.
Hey, he really
I
did
love
like
The
song,
Reason.
The Reason. He really liked that song a lot.
That was a good song.
But it happened in a slow motion way, man. I remember seeing him from the corner of my eye stand up. You know, he stood up already, and I'm looking at my brothers, and they're looking at me, and I can see Faith Hill and Tim McGraw over there looking at us, clapping too, and I'm like, did they say?
Yeah.
And then our manager goes, "You guys won, get up!" And we're like,
Yeah.
no way. What a what a thing to remember, brother.
It's awesome, man. I got a little goosebumps on my arms as a dad right there, just thinking about that,
Right on, brother. It's got to hit home, man.
Yep.
And it does.
Now, with all this talking here, I can with music all in your life, the family, nothing but love is coming out of your voice talking about music. You guys were touring for like a decade and a half. Right before COVID, you decided to kind of like slow things down. Just kind of talk about that. What was it about the grind that finally like got to you before COVID, and then what brought it back after like the world opened up?
Well, one of the ways we like to put it, man, is that we're not in charge of when we go to sleep, and we're not really in charge of when we wake up. We're those type of people. We don't believe it's up to us. Yeah, we may go, I'm going to go lay down and go to sleep, but I don't remember going to sleep. How I woke up, I don't remember that. We're those type of people, man. And so even though the choice was made for us to disband and get off the road, it was like October, I don't know, 9th or something like that, or 19th or something. We made that decision. But looking on when COVID happened, we started seeing it as it wasn't really up to us. It was one of those moments that was like, hey, it was going to stop anyways.
Right.
It was going to come to a halt anyways, no matter even if we did or not. For us, we felt like we got a little kind of jump start on what life's going to be like without it. And sure enough, man, the grind took its toll, man. And I think it does that to anybody and everybody. And we've said this to cats that are like, what you got to say for a up and coming artist or whatever. And we're like, look, it's not all glitz and glamour, man. It's not what it's made out to be. Don't get me wrong. We're super thankful, man. And I don't think we'd go any other way if we had a second chance. But it starts to take its toll on you, whether it be the road, whether it be women, whether it be drinking or, we weren't in heavy in drinking or drugs or nothing, but it just, man, we're family men too. And so it started getting rough being away from home, coming home, and the kids started getting closer and closer to your eye level.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, what the heck, man?
And your brother got injured pretty bad, right?
Oh man, we nearly lost him. Then he fell into an orchestra pit we were in Downey, California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he fell what I think was around 10, 12 feet down, man. And, a crazy story about this. I haven't told a lot of cats in interviews, but after the show, we go to the front, we say hi to everybody. Oh, thank you for the night and all that. Well, I took off to the left. I don't know. Ringo may have gone to the right or whatever. But I went and I was talking to this person, and he goes, hey, I got this for you and your brothers. I got these. And he gave me 3 solid white rosaries. And right when they hit my hand, the ground shook.
Oh, wow.
And that was Henry falling into the orchestra pit.
Oh, geez.
But check this out. So I didn't know it was Henry yet. What I knew was that I was like, okay, something just hit really hard. It shook the ground beneath my feet. Something's going on. Well, I saw Ringo at the other end of the stage, and I came and I was like, the crowd's going wild. So I'm talking to Ringo. I'm like, where the heck is Henry? And in my mind, I'm already going, no. And sure enough, man, I looked down in the orchestra pit and I could see what appeared to be like wardrobe and wigs and stuff. but it was Henry's hair
Jeez.
and Henry's clothes. Oh, bro, here's another one of those moments where I didn't even think twice. I fell into that hole with him. I jumped in without thinking, man. I mean, brothers, man, you get in there and it's a crazy moment. All I could think was Henry's dead or dying or whatever, right? And so I just picked him up, man. I was like, Henry, wake up, man. Henry. And he's got another story to tell about his personal side of what was going on in his consciousness or out of consciousness, rather. But yeah, man, that was a heck of a moment for us too, man. I also we got off the road because we thought I had a throat cancer.
Oh, geez.
It just turned out to be that the vocal cords were overworked, and it just kind of took its toll there too, man.
Huh.
So we've definitely seen our share of the hardships before, during, and after what comes with all of this, man.
Well, let's get into the positive side. The return, the resurrection. The album, I believe, is 2024 release, and the new tour you guys coming up. What brought you guys back together? Was it that post-COVID, like, hey, let's pick up a guitar and jam a little bit, and then, hey, starting to get the memories going again, and then lead us to this new tour you guys got going on?
Yeah, you're real good, man. It was exactly like that, bro. It was exactly that. We also didn't even see or talk to each other for, I don't know, somewhere like 3 months, maybe 4 months. It was a little falling out, but we had been used to those things too as brothers, man. I mean, we're just thankful that we were able to all be together. And so, yeah, man, we weren't sure we were going to play again, tour again, any of those things. What we were sure of is that we were back together as a family, and we were all loving each other, and we could be at each other's houses for dinner, whatever, those types of things. That's what we were thankful for. And then, as Ringo says that, he's like, when Ringo gets asked this question, like, why'd you guys come back? He's like, well, the bank accounts were a little low.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Ringo says, man. But,
free.
But truthfully, once again, bro, it's timing. And it's not our timing. We like to take credit for a lot of things that we do when we do it, or we think we're doing it, and for us, we got a call from our management, and they were like, hey, are you guys interested in getting back out on the road? Or, and we were like, we don't know, man, really. And they were like, well, this band called The Who is wanting you guys to open some shows in some stadium arena type stuff.
Just a little band, yeah. A little, no. It would be like the HU, like some cover band.
The HOO. And so, bros, guys like that right there was like, we talked about it for a minute. Time started winding down. They were like, okay, we got to get an answer or whatever. And we just talked and talked and talked. And finally, we were like, this is what better way to return than on such a stage. And so, that kind of made it easier. And we were like, all right, let's come back. And we also have felt like it was a resurrection thing, in a God time, a year is a day. And for us, it was 3 days. And so we rise again after 3 days, or it was 3 years. And then it started turning into, okay, we had been showing each other music and what I was working on, what Henry's working on, what Ringo's working on, and all these great songs and ideas, as individuals, just bringing them to the table. And I remember Henry and Ringo bringing me the song, Send More Love. And I was like, what a song. Yeah. I said, Henry, man, the last time you wrote a song like this, the world found out who Los Lonely Boys were.
Nice.
And for us, man, I really think, let me rephrase that. I really feel, and I know that it's some of our best work to date.
Yep.
We all the brotherhood and everything's back together and stuff. And so we're giving it everything we got, and these songs, a couple of them, a few of them or a couple of them we had in the vault already. The song Natural Thing was a song we had for 20 years and never got recorded. I mean, we may have tried to record it or something, But what had happened was we're looking at the layout of the album, and I'm singing like 3 or 4 tunes. Henry's singing like 3 or 4 tunes, and we were like, Ringo's got to sing a song. And he said, we were like, let's try to write a new song for Ringo and all this stuff. And he just said, guys, I want to do Natural Thing.
Nice. Yeah.
And that song right there, brother, I mean, like I said, they're all just fantastic. But that song being in the vault as long as it was, once again, it comes down to timing. I don't believe that song would have been what it is now any other years that we would have tried to do it, man. Mm-hmm. It's just special, you know. Ringo is at a different point in his life, vocally, and just, you know, like all of us, our kids are all grown and all this stuff too. And so what a great song, man. The album itself, if you look at it and listen to it, like songs like Wish You Would, you know, they're just songs that we're just super pleased with, man. We really worked our tails off singing and playing and sonically too, man. Like I got to give props to our boy, Chris Jolin at Opus Audio Labs. This guy was doing some pioneer type stuff. We made a lot of this album via internet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And for us, that's a new thing, you know?
Yeah.
And man, like I said, we're just pleased with it. We're still pushing it right now. It's still the thing that we got out. That's what we're touring. And you know, man, one of the crazy things is being out on tour or playing any shows, and it's always been this way, man. When you after you make your first album, somebody wants to hear something new. And then you play something new and they don't want to hear something new. They want to hear something old. And so we try to find this balance for us on this tour that we got coming up, man. Is trying to just touch home base with the first album and a song or two off of that album and this album, and a few songs off of Resurrection, you know, and that's where we're at right now, and that's what we're doing. So anybody that comes and sees the show, you can expect to see Los Lonely Boys. You can expect to be happy, feeling love, you know, and enjoying good old Texican rock and roll, man.
That's awesome, man. Jojo, first off, I want to thank you for coming on, man. I really, really enjoyed our time together. Some really insightful stuff, and it's just really cool to hear how, you know, your perspective on all of this. Before we go, in I think it was 2016, you guys recorded a cover of "Born on the Bayou" by Creedence, and which is really cool. But we also had Stu Cook and Doug Clifford, the bassist and drummer from Creedence, on the show. I'm just wondering if you ever had any interaction with them. They are a band that I just feel like no matter what generation comes around, like nobody hates Creedence Clearwater Revival. They are just
right on.
You can put on at any party, barbecue, any setting, and everyone's like, this is cool. Like, I'm just curious what your experience
100% agree with that, bro. And that is one of my favorite recordings of any cover tune we've ever done. I mean, it is slamming, you know, and being part of that album was a great honor. And I feel the same exact way, bro. Creedence is they're a timeless thing, man. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, a generation or anything. It's their music is meant for all generations, man. It really is.
I saw Fogerty like 2 years ago. Fogerty like 2 years ago. You would have thought you would not know what decade they were from, judging by the audience. There was young people, middle-aged people, old. It was amazing. You know, and he still got it too.
No, I mean, man, we've met a lot of people over the years, brother, man, and some cats, you know, some moments have really stuck out and some not. But don't get me lying, but I'm pretty sure we met some of the cats, man. I am pretty sure, and I know we stood right next to Fogerty. But, you know, having a true interaction or anything like that, nah. But, man, once again, we still will open the show with "Born on the Bayou," dude.
It's awesome.
We'll do a small, like, little, like, collage kind of thing and do snippets of, you know, 5 or 6 Creedence tunes, man, just because it's so good.
It's the best.
Well, you just talked about performing with the biggest cats and everything in the world. I have to ask you about what would obviously be the biggest cats you ever performed for. Can you please tell me what it was like to perform for the soon-to-be 2008 World Series Philadelphia Phillies in St. Petersburg?
Don't.
Like, were you tearing up when you saw the true Carlos Ruiz? Were you?
Well, hey, there's nothing more American than apple pie and baseball, man. I've heard that, and it's been said throughout generations. But really, man, what an amazing moment to be able to sing the national anthem at the World Series. And I mean, man, one thing that really we were really thankful for taking that break that we took, man, was being able to reflect on things like this.
Very cool.
Because my older kids are like, look, Daddy, y'all did this, y'all did that, y'all did this. And of course, I remember doing the World Series and a bunch of Dallas Cowboys games and some Houston Texans games and a bunch of footballs and basketballs and baseball. But that, bro, that is a major moment, major mile marker, and we're just super thankful that we were able to do it. One of the things that we've heard over the years is that you guys, your rendition of the national anthem, it speaks true to what it was and is for cats growing up. Of course, in our days, it doesn't have to be colored, extra flowers, color, sugar, whatever you want to call it. As long as you give it all you got and you remember the words.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be pretty dang good, man. And so that was a great moment, bro. It really was.
It must have been good because in Philly, if they don't like something, they throw things at you, they insult you, they beat up Santa Claus. They're just not good people down there. But anyway,
man, Philly's always been good to us, man. Always. I mean, it's what? How do you say it? The word Philadelphia is a brotherly love, man. And so we don't receive nothing but that, man.
Jojo, thank you so much for your time, man. Really enjoyed the interview. Good luck with the tour. Looking forward to new music in the future. And when you got something coming on, we'd love to have you back on.
All right, brothers. Thank you, guys. You guys are really fun. Once again, thank y'all for spreading the news, man. The Los Lonely Boys are still here, brother. You guys, thank you, man.
Jojo Garza. I don't know, man. In the lead for me possibly this year as either music interview of the year, possible lead of the interview of the year for me. Really, really enjoyed our time there with Jojo.
I mean, I'm just impressed. He performed in front of the Chooch, Carlos Ruiz. I mean, how does it get bigger than that, my friends?
Now, let me ask you, now that you have interviewed Jojo Garza, who are part of the Los Lonely Boys, who have made the song Heaven, as you are the first draft pick of Heaven, does this make, you said you had to negotiate, does this help your case up in the waiting room there to get back to a solid, perfect number one pick?
I mean, it's probably line item 10. Like, I figure the list is just so big, it'll be fit in there. But I mean, like I said, I'm showing up to make it look good. I don't want it to look like Heaven's impartial when they make that first pick on that day, and everybody's like, "Oh, I kind of knew that." But
no, real quick, does Heaven the song ever play in the waiting room? I feel like that makes sense.
I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's one of those things, it's like when you travel to a city and like if you go to Texas, I'm sure you're going to hear that Beyonce song. When you go up to Heaven, you got to put Los Lonely Boys up on there.
Yeah, if you're at a New York baseball game, you're going to hear New York, New York, or New York. Yeah, I get it. Makes sense. But one and only Jojo Garza there. Mike, what do you got?
Well, a couple of things to bring up, Scott. I will go back to what we were talking about. As everybody knows, last week we had Sandy Johnson, who was Judith Myers, first victim, Michael Myers in the original Halloween movie. We forgot to kind of talk about a little thing we did for our friend Dom Bagnato.
Don't lump me in with this.
Well, I mean,
don't put the we. This is something Mike Burlow did.
No, I remember we had a verbal shenanigans meeting.
No, we didn't.
We did. We had the entire staff there.
No, we didn't.
We discussed it. We had a plan going. We had backup plans. So we had to do the DR plan, as we'll tell him the story.
First off, Dom Bagnato joined us on the Christmas episode. He could have won a Michael Myers Christmas ornament. He lost. He did not get it. Harry won, and his got lost in Indonesia or China somewhere. So probably around next Christmas, he'll have a nice ornament coming his way when the tree is up. So,
and I believe my ornament that I won, I actually got it, but you had to bid on another one because the one you were planning on, you got outbid on at the last second.
The ornament you were supposed to win, I was locked in on eBay. I didn't think anybody humanly possible would be getting a Lenny Dykstra Phillies Christmas ornament. While we were recording the episode, I go to buy it after you had won. And it's like your bid was not accepted and it was gone. So I had to go scrambling for another Lenny Dykstra ornament. And I think
it was Chooch. But boy, Carlos Ruiz and all got the ornament right.
I think I spent an extra like $8.50 too, just to get the ornament to you.
That was worth it. Don't worry.
It'll be on the tree.
But in any case, so after the show aired and we went through all that, I didn't even know he was a big Halloween person until that episode was recorded. I went out shopping. I was at a Marshall's, and I'm just.
What were you in the bra section?
No, I was not in the bra section. I was shopping regularly as I always do, not grabbing bras. But in any case, so I go past this rack and I turn my head. I'm like, oh my God, they have Halloween sweatshirts, Halloween the movie. It has the Halloween emblem in the front, and they got like a Michael Myers on the back with the tagline from the movie and all that. I said, this is kind of cool. It's on clearance. I'm like, I'm going to do a nice thing. I'm going to pick up Tom Bagnato a sweatshirt. And
very nice thought. Very nice thought.
There. So I text Scott. I'm like, hey, Scott, do you know what Dom's clothing size is? And I'm going to do something. And you were probably in the middle of something. Our meetings are so long that you had to get back to your regular life. So I wasn't surprised you didn't get back to me right away. So I'm like,
first off, the fact that you think I would just be like, oh yeah, Dom's a men's medium. He likes his shirts a little tight or like, how the hell would I know what Dom's shirt size is?
I assume you have been out with him to get an idea of his size to say, oh, he's quite a slender human being.
Is that what
quite large?
Is that what you do when you go out with friends? You're like, I wonder
that's how I start off.
Yeah.
Like I don't even say my name. I go XL, and I just point, and it just goes from there. Gotcha. Women usually slap me when I do that, but I digress.
Gotcha.
So I go, you know what? I looked at the price. I'm like, it's cheap enough. What I'll do is I grabbed a large. I grabbed an extra large. I mean, that's generally the New Jerseyan sizes of men. And I said,
the New Jersey, what? Men from New Jersey have a certain size?
Most people from New Jersey are rather larger than other states. So that's my thought process there.
What's
going on?
I always say how it'd be so nice when my kids could like listen to our life trend. This is like a diary of your mental illness growing over 500 episodes. This is the spiral of a man losing his mind.
You tell me, just like looking around on an average day, as you still live in the state of New Jersey, that you wouldn't say, okay, the average amount of people here are extra large.
So you're telling me you go around, you think in New Jersey, you're just eyeing up people doing average, doing the mean of what the average size is.
Exactly. Like if you just go into your office and just do like a mathematical visual review of the people inside, I'm sure you basically come up with most of the men of Jersey are large or larger. So
could you explain to me how one does a mathematical visual review? Because I'm a little cloudy on how that.
Well, have you ever watched Terminator? You know how like
several times
they give you the point of view of the Terminator with the red vision, and then you just see text coming through and all kind of deciphering the threat of said person. That's what kind of happens in my brain.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But instead of terminating people, I figure out their size.
Your superpowers are just unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why Skynet sent me back to the past with this talent, but here we are. So.
Then again, if they had to make a whole She-Hulk series, they could probably make Size Guy, like into
it. What can we do? They're coming fast. Let's go through this door. But they'll catch us. No, they're extra, extra large. They'll never fit.
What would you say the average size in Georgia is?
They could be going double X in certain places right there on average, but I digress.
Gotcha. All right,
but
continue.
So I figure, okay, probably if I get one of these two, I'll buy both. And then when Scott comes back with the answer, because I know he'll be running over to Dom and asking, hey, I really like your clothes. What size are they?
I really like your clothes.
Yeah. Well, that's how you butter him up. And then he's like, oh, and then he'll say the size. And if you wanted to trade clothes, so be it. But I digress. But
he's Italian. He's already naturally buttered up. I don't use anything. No.
So I go up to the register and I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy both of these. And I'm going to, once I get the answer, I'm going to return the other. This is a great plan. I'm going to be a nice guy, whatever. And the lady scans the first one and it says Youth XL. So right off the bat, I'm like, oh, okay. Probably don't need the Youth Large right now because Youth XL will be stretching it as is. So I will just take that item right there. And I grabbed it, and I remember you texted me back, reminding me like you would have no damn idea what size Dom Magnano is.
Right.
But I got to the point, I looked back to see if I saw anything in the men's section, and I couldn't find any Halloween sweatshirts there. So I just said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to ship him a Youth XL to see what happens. And the thought process was, well, at the very least, he has a little thing he can put like in a frame, since he loves Halloween so much, and he could tell his kids, or maybe one of his children could grow up and take over the mantle of the Youth XL Halloween sweatshirt.
Sure.
So I shipped it out. I put like Haddonfield, Illinois as the from address and all that and all the cuteness. But lo and behold, Dom Bagnoto is a Youth XL, apparently.
Yeah, mentally also. But yeah, the fact that this fits this man is a very strange thing. It makes me think like, was it labeled wrong at the store? Like maybe did you check the tag? Like maybe it was labeled Youth XL, but was actually an XL?
I don't know. I didn't really check afterwards. Once it came up with youth, I'm like, well, that's all the investigation I need.
I was really praying that it was going to be like a belly shirt and we'd have to make him wear it on a certain episode.
Yeah, and, like on the next Halloween episode.
Yes. If you lose, you got to wear the Halloween shirt, with your boobs hanging out or whatever, wherever it was short. But I guess knowing that you have a size skill, maybe when we did those podcasts with him all so long ago, you sized them up correctly and it was in your data bank somewhere where
of course. It makes sense. It was in the backup system. Yes. It's like when the Terminator, when the T-1000 thinks they kill the original Terminator, but then its backup systems generate, that's where I got the information from.
Well, enjoy your shirt, Dom. Just maybe don't put it in the dryer.
I wouldn't risk it that much. I would get it on, put it on a line when you try it and all that fun stuff. But one other question for you, Scott, as I've brought up my thoughts on the sizes of New Jersey. I overheard a conversation at work today that was a little shocking to me. Somebody was just chatting with somebody and he said out loud, they eat guinea pigs in New Jersey.
Really?
Have you ever heard that before, out of curiosity?
I have lived in New Jersey all of my life. I've never heard of us eating guinea pigs before. Yeah, you were in Jersey for 40 years of your life.
30-something, 35, somewhere in that range.
No, okay. Well, whatever. Let's not get exact here, Mike.
Hey, I get sizes exact and years and the state exact. You hear me?
Did you ever come across a guinea pig rumor?
I have never heard anything like that. That's why I kind of exclaimed, what the hell?
Maybe you heard it wrong, and they were like, "There's a lot of guinea pigs in New Jersey."
Well, the funny thing was, like at first, I thought he was saying they eat guinea pigs, and I thought he brought up like a roadside place. So I'm like Googling New Jersey eating guinea pig roadside.
Right.
I couldn't find anything there. The only thing that popped up, there was some story where somebody had 11 guinea pigs, and I guess they couldn't keep care of them, so they just shoved 11 guinea pigs on the side of the road, and people were trying to save the guinea pigs.
Okay. Were they just tossing them out the window down the parkway? Like, what was going on there?
Apparently, it's like where people just... Some a-holes just push a dog out and say, good luck to you. This person just said, with 11 guinea pigs, I'm sure you can survive in the wild, dropped it off on the side of the road, and people were like stopping their cars and going on the side of the road to save said guinea pigs there.
Yeah.
But Scott, apparently there are guinea pig eating in New Jersey.
Okay.
Apparently, guinea pigs.
So who are we interviewing next week?
Well, they would have to be Peruvian because that is the culture that eats guinea pigs. Apparently, there's a restaurant in Paterson, New Jersey, where they serve guinea pig. Right.
Really?
There.
Now,
Yeah.
I have seen videos of in Peru where like they have guinea pigs running around these like almost like, I don't want to call them tribal, but like living like very, very simple living. There's guinea pigs running around, and they did like, they'd be like, it's dinner time, and they'd kill one and cook it for dinner. So I have seen something like this along the way, but never.
Oh, so you're holding back on me?
Never in New Jersey.
How do you know the video didn't stem from New Jersey? Huh?
It was in the top of a mountain in like a.
There's mountains in New
building.
Jersey.
Oh, there's like 2.
Yeah. Well, did you check both of them?
So really, guinea pigs in Paterson.
Yeah. It's a Peruvian thing, and then that's why I wanted to correct with them, because like I went back, I'm like, were you saying like all Jerseyans eat guinea pig out of curiosity?
Of course we do. We love a nice guinea pig with after dinner. Like it's
you guys started without me?
We actually eat it between like appetizer, salad, little guinea pig, like a little intermezzo cleans the palate, and and then we get on to the main course.
Well, like I said, I was in Jersey for like a good 38 years. Y'all didn't let me in on this. I feel left out.
You said 35. You are not exact on the years. You lying to the audience.
Well, no, it changed. I didn't want to brag by saying I was in the state for 30 years, so I lowballed the number.
Listen,
but now that I found out you guys have been guinea pigging behind my back, I'm going to put my status out there. Yeah, I've been there for a full 38, and y'all have been not telling me that we were supposed to be eating pig.
No one on this planet is bragging that they've been in Jersey for 38 years. It's more of like, I kind of never left.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah, I got stuck in here.
Yeah,
it's a jail sentence without the bars. Yeah.
Well, would you try the guinea pig dish?
I'm not going to go out of my way for it, but like if I'm at a Peruvian restaurant where this apparently occurs and somebody's like ordering it, I'm like, yo, break me off a piece of that.
Yeah, I'd have to see it first. I'd have to see how it was prepared. If it just looks like, I don't know, chicken or something, all right, I'll try a little guinea pig, I guess. But I'm also not driving to Paterson tonight to go get the guinea pig sampler.
Well, why not? We have this conversation. You tell us we got to start TikToking, and I can think of no better way to open an account than Scott Brennan shoving a guinea pig down his throat.
Yes. I think that's what's going to get us to the top. It's
yeah. You think 11 years of this podcast is going to do it? No. Now, a picture of you with a guinea pig down the throat? Hell yeah.
What if you taste it and you really like it and you kind of got rid of pumpkin spice, whatever? What if you did a month of guinea pig tasting?
Guinea pig, whatever. Nice. Yeah. I'm all for it, man. I got to fill up my October schedule since I gave up that other thing.
I feel like guinea pigs probably taste very like grassy, like very hay filled.
For what I understand, like I said, I did find a TikTok of somebody at said restaurant. They said it was rabbity.
Rabbit. Yeah, that makes sense. Rodent-y. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe if you come up in May, we'll go for a nice guinea pig trip.
Dude, we get your daughter christened, and we're like, everyone, we're going to take you to a special spot, and the entire Brendan family and friends just show up in guinea pig in honor of your daughter christening.
We don't even have to do that. We can have them cater the event and just like open the trays one by one, and the last one,
like we could just like stop off at a Petco and be like, "No, it's cool. We got our stuff right here. Just hand it off."
Serve it with a little alfalfa on the side.
Yeah. I found these 11 on the side of the road, and somebody's trying to get rid of them.
Well, let me tell you about another 2 New Jerseyans before we get out of here. Mike, when you go to the gym, when you're not stinking the joint up,
that's not happened in a while,
and you're not wearing your mother's underwear, are you a guy?
Don't wear them. I pick it up when the dog takes them outside.
Are you a guy who talks to people at the gym at all?
No, I am very much. I got to be in my concentration mode. I know I have ADHD, so it's like if I'm not like fully concentrating and keeping my mind quiet, it feels like the gym, I'm there for like 3 hours when I'm only there for 1.
Yes. So I don't talk to a soul. I put this is my time to put a podcast on and just, do my thing. I don't talk to anybody. I think the most I've ever said is like, hey, to the guy who checks in my badge at the, the front. So there's this woman there. I see her all the time because she works out right around the same time I do. She's an older woman. My sister-in-law also goes to the gym. We are completely convinced she has a fake ass. Like she has a giant bulbous ass that doesn't quite fit her body, and it looks like it doesn't move. Like it's definitely like some kind of Brazilian butt lift or implants or something.
Scott, if you want, me being the size expert, I can look at her and I could probably determine for you if said rear.
So I'll bring you with me to the gym. Yeah. And you just stand next to me and wait for the butt to pass by and
absolutely. Yeah. Or maybe I go to the front. Hey, have you seen a rather unusually large butt here lately?
That's not she dresses in the most ridiculous clothing. It's all like color coordinated and just clearly like showing off her fake butt and her fake lips and her fake hair, like someone I would never be attracted to.
Okay.
So the other day, I'm finishing up my workout. I always finish up on the treadmill, just like walking, listening. It's my like peace time.
Yep, making sure you don't trip on your balls so they fall out. Yep,
it's true. I'm on the treadmill. I've got about 12 minutes left, let's say. She gets on next to me, puts her phone on the thing, like everyone does, as everyone's watching something or listening to something. Mike, you've played this game with me before. Would you like to guess what this woman was doing on her phone in the treadmill next to me?
On her phone next to you, okay. The most obnoxious thing is like talking on speakerphone. Was she doing that?
Not quite. No.
Not quite. Interesting.
But it does involve volume of her voice.
Volume of her voice. Did she have like a self mixtape that she was listening to?
Not quite, but you're in the right church, just the wrong pew.
Interesting. Was she listening to a speech that she gave?
Ooh, close. What this woman was doing, she was watching vocal like warm-up lessons on the phone and doing them at full volume, a treadmill next to me. Okay. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
All of a sudden I'm walking, I'm just listening to something. All of a sudden I hear and then like me, 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 me. Like doing them for minute increments of straight up at full volume to the point where, of course, I didn't say something to her, but I was starting to give her the death look. Like every time she did it, I would start to look at her, and I started going like that. There was other people on machines in front of me, and I'm just like giving them the look like this can't be real. Full volume vocal lessons going on the treadmill. Where do you stand on that?
Well, an interesting fact, when we drive to the gym, generally usually on the weekends, a lot of times since Izzy either is doing open mics or has some free time, she does her vocal warm-ups where she plays her lesson with her voice teacher, and she will do voice lessons there. She will also at times has an exercise where she has a plastic straw in her mouth to like, I don't know if it's like supposed to stretch anything with her throat or something to that effect, but she will usually do those exercise on her 30-minute trip to the gym. So if my wife is listening, I love it, and I have no commentary whatsoever. I really enjoy listening to that versus listening to my radio. Yes.
So you would just be in the treadmill next to her, just saying, "Wonderful job. This is really great in an appropriate setting for your vocal lessons."
Yeah, I'll have the treadmill. I'm trying to hit my PR in a mile, and I'll just turn over and be like, "Your throat sound really stretched earlier today, honey. I just want to tell you that."
It was the most obnoxious thing. Gyms are just places for absolute psychopaths. This is a zoo of people who are, either stinking up the gym or doing vocal lessons on the treadmill. Like, let me tell you about another New Jersey man that I don't know if I ever told this story, but the other night he was small. He's probably like a medium.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So under the Jersey average.
Yes.
I did a show. I've been doing a fundraiser for a group in East Rutherford, New Jersey for years. It's always a good comedy show. It's a buddy of mine runs it. It's for baseball and high school baseball, softball. And I was hosting the show the other night. Rocking crowd, like great crowd. So I just decided on stage to start talking about some of the crazy shows we've had over the years and what has happened. And I don't know if I ever told this story. A couple of years ago, I am performing, and there's definitely a drunk table, fun drunks, which is not usual, okay, but fun drunks, teachers, and they're just getting bombed and stuff like that. Show goes on, they're getting sillier and sillier as the headliner goes on and whatnot, and then towards the end, clearly bombed. End of the show comes, I'm wrapping up, I go into the bathroom and see one of the teachers from the front of the audience hovering over the sink, washing his ass. Bent over, paper towel and water, sprinkling it into his ass and just rubbing it up and down, and then got caught like a deer in headlights when I walked in, and I just immediately turned and left.
He's like, "Oh, just come on in. I'll be done in a minute."
Now, what he was washing his ass for? Did he have an accident? I don't know. Was he getting it ready for something? I don't know. But it was hysterical because I brought up, I was like, yeah, one day we had a person in the audience wash their ass in the bathroom. I'm doing a whole bit about how he got caught. And all I hear is people whispering "Oh, that was Mr. Sampson," or "That was Mr. This must be a well-respected teacher at the school." The one guy told me, "Hey, he's a really good teacher, and the kids look up to him." And I guess he just had an off night washing his ass at the comedy show. So, your take on that, Mike?
Well,
please don't tell me your wife does that at the
no. Well, honey does not do ass cleaning during comedy shows. She does not.
We've covered it all tonight. Yeah.
All I can see in my head is now I want to see all those great teacher movies with the added scene of like the teacher washing their ass in the sink and all. Like Lean on Me was a great movie with Morgan Freeman where he played like the strict principal, and he locked out all the drug dealers and so forth to keep the school good and get the grades up. I feel the only thing missing from the show is the movie is Morgan Freeman at the sink lecturing a child while cleaning his ass.
So like Dangerous Minds. Michelle Pfeiffer's got these kids, blah, blah, blah. She comes in.
How do I get through to these kids? And she's like, well, we all need to be clean. So she brings the kids into the bathroom and she shows them hygiene by cleaning her ass in the sink in front of them.
Been spending most of our life cleaning our asshole in the
sink tonight.
Well, I think we've.
Scott, we covered it all. Another job well done tonight.
So we've covered heaven. We've covered bobsledding, guinea pig eating, doing vocal warm-ups on a treadmill, and
sizing people
up and washing your ass. So I think that's enough education we've dropped on our audience for one night, Mike. So first I want to thank Jojo Garza for coming on. Really awesome interview. Go check out Los Lonely Boys. Mike, anything to promote before we get out of here?
Johnny's ass wiping services. Johnny Moisture Robbins has got a second gig. That was a deep pull. I will, since I can't think of anything, I'll send good luck to a former guest, Rachel Pizzolatto. She is apparently putting in pictures. She is trying to apply to be in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Rachel was a former guest of ours. She was a former myth buster. She has invented things. She's also a model. So good luck to her on possibly making it into the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition there, Rachel.
And if she doesn't, if you guys like videos of people on roller coasters with their boobs flying around, she's has plenty of those lately. So it's a win-win. I will promote Burlou's Burloustier, a bra for men, with men with kinks who need to just wear a little undergarment.
If you're unsure of the size, I'm there for you.
We heard of Frank Costanza's Man's Ear, but you never heard of the Burloustier. It is quite a product. But I will actually promote our newsletter, our Substack newsletter. We've been putting out a newsletter once a week. I've been having some fun with it. It's been kind of cool. We've been putting little reflections in there, little past guests, little clips of the show. And we're just always thinking of new ideas to throw in there. So if you go to Verbal Shenanigans on Substack, you can subscribe, and you can also find it on our social medias. Other than that, guys, I think it was a fun episode. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
If you want stank to pass, go to the sink and clean that ass.
Goodbye, people.